Hello, how you doing? So, traveling. So, that would be a really fun thing to do. Kind of like, like as a white robe Yahensue, like later in life. When I maybe get a truck, like when I lived in New Mexico, I had a truck and I had a mattress in the back with a cooler and it had curtains and stuff. It was so nice. That's the way to go. That's the cheapest way to go. And then if you put a padlock on it, you can lock up the thing, and it's just really nice. I like going by train. I've gone by Amtrak a few times. That is really ideal. The Greyhound bus is cheaper, but probably the bet. If money's no object, Amtrak's probably the most fun thing. But a fun road trip would be, so I live in Utah. I'd like to take my son to see where I grew up in Southern California and take him to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is it's the most fun place in America, let's face it. So Utah to Las Vegas, then Las Vegas down to Southern California, and then forget Disneyland and the typical places tourists go. It's all about the beaches. Show them Mission Viejo where I grew up, and then just like the beaches. San Diego is cool. I'm not really a big fan of LA. I think San Diego's cool. I grew up southern Orange County. It's right on the Orange County San Diego County border. So it's actually, Mission Viejo is right in between LA and San Diego, and as far as distance. If you go straight from Mission Viejo straight to the ocean, the closest beach is Laguna Beach, which is cool. It's a fun one to go to, but I was into boogie boarding at the time. I was a rocker, so in my high school, the rockers were spongers, boogie boarders, and then the surfers were surfers. After high school, I tried surfing and realized I should have been surfing all that time. It's better, but what me and my friends did is we'd go to San Clemente Pier. The south side of San Clemente Pier is called T Street because there's a road by there called Trafalgar Street. And that's where us rockers would hang out and boogie board. And then on the north side of the pier was the surfers. The waves were bigger there, and we were kind of like rivalries. Sometimes there was even fights. But some of my best buzzes, we'd go jump in the bushes and get stoned and on a beautiful summer day and walk out to the end of San Clemente Pier. So that's some of my favorite memories in life. It's definitely some of my best buzzes. Being stoned on San Clemente Pier is it's the best place to be when you're stoned. So that's my beach, San Clemente Pier, San Clemente Beach. That's my beach, even though it's a little bit further from Mission Viejo. We would go to Capistrano Beach. We'd walk, from Doheny to Capistrano Beach or whatever. You can walk. You can just walk right along. If you look and you see the coast, you can see the coast as far as you can see practically. There's places where you can just walk and walk and walk and walk and spend the day walking along the coast. It's really fun. Dana Point had the biggest waves. Sometimes they were too big. I saw someone break their neck and they hauled them off on a stretcher once. But all those years living in California, as a teenager, man, after I was a teenager, my family moved to Saudi Arabia, but then I was an adult. So my family was on the other side of the planet. So I just been moving around as an adult since then, till I ended up in Utah because I ended up having a baby boy. And so I've been raising him the last 2 decades. He's grown now, though, and I'd like to travel, but I'd like to bring him. I'd like to show him San Diego. I'd like to show him Las Vegas. Traveling the PCH is the dream thing, the Chaparral, that's the Southern California beaches, and just go straight up the PCH all the way up. And I lived in Canada for a while, British Columbia, Banff. I lived in British Columbia for 2 months and Calgary for 1 month. Banff is on the border in between those, and it's border between British Columbia, Providence, and Calgary, what was it called, Alberta. And oh my gosh, those mountains are so beautiful. They're more hardcore than our Rocky Mountains. They're fantastic. And Vancouver. So what you do is you drive the PCH all the way. You take the train or you drive the PCH all the way from San Diego all the way up to Seattle, And then if you can afford it, you go into Canada too, and maybe go over to Banff and then loop back around into the northwestern part of Montana. I used to live in Libby. It's like right in that corner. That's like really cool. That's where the bears are in our country, and really cool. Then maybe travel back down through Oregon, and go that way. I love beaches and I love the desert. I love mountains too. I love everything really, but I have kind of a special link with deserts and beaches. I lived in Albuquerque for a while. I was in Arizona temporarily. Arizona's a little bit too hot. I have a thing for the Santa Fe area. I was an extra in the movie Buffalo Girls there, and we were filming outside of Santa Fe, and that place is cool, man. Oh my gosh, Santa Fe is so beautiful, and the Taos Mountains. And that's when I had my truck. I just told you I used to live in a truck, and I would explore the New Mexico Colorado border and the Utah Colorado border, that whole area up in that way. There's some beautiful places. A city called Eagle's Nest. Some really cool stuff. I'd like to go. Before we came, my mom's family are homesteaders in the Fort Bridger area. They're friends with Butch Cassidy and the first white people in that area, and blah blah blah. My mom and dad met in Ogden and got married, and then had me as their first kid. A family of 5 kids. My dad was in the Air Force at Hill Air Force Base. He's from upstate New York. His family, though, is from Salem, Massachusetts. That's where he was born and lived the first part of his life. Then his mom got married and they moved to New York. And that's where he lived the rest of his youth. But I'd like to go see Salem, Massachusetts, see where my family's from. We were on the Mayflower, so we've been in Massachusetts since the Mayflower. So Boston and Salem and just the East Coast, I have a lot of interest in that. I love Philadelphia. I have a lot of interest in that. That's where Rocky was filmed. That's where the Eagles are. The Philly cheesesteak. I've got this playlist will have a bunch of stuff on all these places that I'm interested in. Before America, my last name Ducharme. That's actually French Canadian. So that side of the family were from France originally, and then Canada, and then many Ducharmes some went to Detroit, but most of us went to Massachusetts a long time ago. We've been in America for a long time, and then married into the family that was on the Mayflower, that's related to John Proctor, one of the first Americans to be executed for witchcraft. So that would be cool. I like witchcraft. I'm into that anyway, so I would like to go see that area. So there's just a lot of travel. I'd like to, like a white robe Yahensue. If you look at that playlist, you'll see it mentions, and I'll leave a link in the description box for the full season of Highway to Heaven, about this guy, this do-gooder angel that travels around America. And that's what I would like to do. Just save up money, maybe have a truck with a thing in the back. Sometimes take my son, sometimes don't, and just travel around and just find people to feed and make friends with and love and cute guys. I've been wearing a hat all day. I look like it's winter, so I've been wearing a stocking cap thing. But anyway, so lots of travel and things to do. Those loop type travels would be fun, either on train or in a car. The cheapest thing would be to have a truck with a shell on the back and a mattress, in a cooler, so you didn't have to always eat at restaurants. You could just stop at Walmart's and stock up. You could make it really cheap, and just to go around and just kind of like underdog, just help people and see things and see beaches and go feel what the salt water feels like in your nose and all.